Well, it's rivalry time again for the U.S. national team. Hey everybody, I'm Greg Lalas, aka Gagins on Twitter.
And I'm Simon Borg, aka Simon Borg on Twitter. And the U.S. taking on Mexico on Wednesday, April 2nd, 11 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and Unimas. And Greg, a lot of anticipation for this game.
A lot of anticipation because this is the big rivalry. These are the big dogs of CONCACAF going at it. For me, Simon, this is the biggest rivalry in international soccer.
I think we can mention some others. And
Such as?
Germany, Holland.
Okay.
That really gets me excited. Argentina, Brazil. I mean, it should probably be at the top of the list. But U.S.-Mexico has lost a little steam, in my opinion, because the changeover in the squads and even at head coach means there's not really a controversial element to the proceedings. There's no villains. So hopefully this game can help provide some of those.
Well, Rafa Marquez and Landon Donovan, two of the villains for the other sides at least, are in the squad for these ones. However, this one in particular match, it's a friendly. And it's not really a grudge match anyway. There's nothing really on the line. It's not even a FIFA date. And really, they don't have their A squads with them. But this game for the U.S. national team has some real importance.
It does. Top of the list. Julian Green. You've been hearing a lot about the teen phenom from Bayern Munich. He plays for their 4th division team, the reserve team. And Jurgen Klinsmann has seen enough of him to call him up for this game, and many expect him to make his debut here. I am not a fan of him being there. I don't think the 4th division in Germany equates to international level, but Jurgen Klinsmann, he has more information, and ultimately the field is going to be the judge.
Well, our man down in Phoenix, Andrew Wiebe, has more information on Julian Green.
Andrew Wiebe outside of Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, where the U.S. national team will take on Mexico on Wednesday in a pre-World Cup friendly. Of course, the topic of conversation here, who will be on that 23-man roster in Brazil, and no player's fate more discussed than that of Julian Green. The German-American teenager is with the U.S. for the first time on home soil and trained on Monday. He did not, however, speak with the media. That will have to wait until after Wednesday's match. However, his teammates still had plenty to say about his fate and his talents here in camp.
Very young player, but a guy who has shown even at a young age that he has good starting points and a lot of quality. And so, I think we're all excited to get to know him a little bit in these few days. Kind of get the process going of showing him what it's like to be in this team.
And we're not done with the big news for the U.S. roster. On Monday, we got news that Puebla, the Liga MX team where DeMarcus Beasley and Michael Orozco-Fiscal play, would not allow those two players to come and play for the U.S. in this one. They were not released. Simon, what is going on here? And also, there are going to be some ripple effects here in the squad.
Absolutely, because DeMarcus Beasley, he's your starting left back. And so what that does, since there's no other left back on the squad, it means that Michael Parkhurst, who has played left back in the past, he can play everywhere along the back line, he'll probably slide in there at left back, which means right back is now up for grabs. And people expect it to be a battle between DeAndre Yedlin and Tony Beltran, who was called up recently because Brad Evans couldn't make it, and Brad Evans is the incumbent there at right back. So a lot of people excited. Is DeAndre Yedlin, is this his big chance to make an impression on Klinsmann and maybe win a trip to the World Cup?
You're very excited about Yedlin. You have a video somewhere on MLSsoccer.com basically saying he deserves to go to the World Cup.
There's a good argument as to why his skill set could be a needed element for this team.
One player with no doubts about whether he'll be on the World Cup squad, Michael Bradley from Toronto FC. Il Generale has looked great since he joined MLS again this season. Our own Matt Doyle, the armchair analyst, has a little bit more about what makes him so good.
I'm Matt Doyle, MLSsoccer.com's armchair analyst, here to talk a little bit about what Michael Bradley is going to bring to the table for the U.S. on Wednesday against Mexico. Now, we all know he's going to be great defensively. He has been since 2007 when he first became a U.S. regular. But what he's shown in his brief time in Toronto so far is his ability to deliver the final pass into the final third. First, take a look at this slip pass to Alvaro Rey after he draws the DC United defense to him. Second pass, this is the one that leads to the goal. A perfect chip over the top to Gilberto in stride. He will be able to get into these spots for the U.S. and hurt Mexico on Wednesday.
Well, that's the word from the U.S. side. Now let's get some of the scoop about Mexico. Simon, what's going on with El Tri?
Well, Miguel Herrera, he's fairly new coach, been on the job for a couple months, but he's really looking to establish the system he's given this team, which is a 5-3-2, and I think the five-man backline gives problems to the U.S. We've seen it in the past. So he says, look, this is a Clásico. We have to go out and win it. As far as the U.S. fans looking at this team are concerned, Rafa Marquez, the ex-Red Bull player, he's probably going to be at the center of that five-man backline. And then there are three Americans on this Mexican side. So you have Isaac Brizuela from Toluca, who's going to be in the midfield creating havoc. Then Moises Munoz in goal. And also Miguel Ponce, who also plays for Toluca. He's probably going to line up at left back. So three Americans facing the Americans.
Well, we saw Brizuela and what he did against the San Jose Earthquakes in the CONCACAF Champions League. His hometown, San Jose, California, by the way, Brizuela there. Now, before we go, a couple things we need to get to. First of all, Simon, prediction. What do you think this one's going to end up as?
I see a 2-1 win for Mexico, and that's only because I think their attack is more dangerous than the U.S. The U.S. have struggled to score in recent matches.
Against the five-man backline, everyone will struggle to score.
And that's another reason. So I see Mexico take it.
Well, I say a draw in this one. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I expect goals. Both teams, not really much to play for in this one other than pride. They're going to go out and get this one. And I agree with you. I hope that someone becomes that catalyst. That villain appears on one side or another, and we get the spark again. Now, before we actually say goodbye, we do have to do one thing. The new U.S. jersey, Simon. Here it is.
Yeah.
Right? See that?
Yeah.
I need your take on this.
I love how people are calling it the bomb pop. You called it
the bomb. Like the old bomb pop.
It's a great nickname.
Mine, by the way.
It's a great nickname, and I think it's a little bit out of the ordinary for a jersey, for a soccer jersey. But I think if it has a magic moment to go with it, maybe at the World Cup, they win a special game in that jersey, then I think it becomes a classic, just like the denim one.
Oh, you love the denim kit, didn't you? Well, they'll be wearing it on Wednesday night when they take on Mexico. As I said, the greatest international soccer rivalry that exists today, in my humble opinion. The game is at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. It's on ESPN and Unimas. Make sure you check it out. We will have a recap video / analysis video after the game coming out on Thursday, another edition of Brazil Bound on MLSsoccer.com. For Simon Borg, I'm Greg Lalas. We'll talk to you later on.